everybody. Christopher Talon, host of a podcast for creative people, which you knew because you're listening to it. First, let's address that I haven't put out a podcast in a little while. I wasn't necessarily taking a break. I was going out, finding guests, booking them, recording with them, and editing those podcasts. And I've got about 2 months worth of content ready to deliver starting now. I am going to release the podcast that kind of covers my experience selling books at the GalaxyCon in Richmond, Virginia with the Pop-Up BookShoppe. And you might remember C.R. Rice from episode, I think it was 86. She runs the Pop-Up BookShoppe. She is an author. We talked on the podcast. She answered all my questions about it there, and I went out and sold with her and the group of people that go out and sell. It's really fun because we had, I want to say, about 8 authors there, and everybody works this big, long table with all of our books together. People say, what kind of books do you like? Oh, well, then you might like so-and-so's book. There it is. This is what it's about. Take a look at it, and if you like it, so-and-so's right over there. They can sign it for you. It was a lot of fun. We sold some books, made some money, had a good time. It was a 4-day event. All of the people that you're about to hear from are authors who were at that table selling each other's books, and they're going to talk about their experience with the shop, and mostly I want them to be able to promote their books too after a long weekend of selling to the masses, one last push. So you're going to hear from all the authors who were at the GalaxyCon with us, except for 2, well, technically 3, who had to leave early, but their stuff is in the show notes as well. So check out all these authors, look at the show notes, and see if those genres sound cool to you. And if you do buy something, please leave a review when you're done, because that really helps independent and emerging authors. So thank you guys, and here is the experience at the GalaxyCon Richmond, Virginia in 2025. Yeah, here.
So my pen name is C.R. Rice. I write dark metaphysical fantasy. I'm doing something called the Realm series that branches out into a couple different genres. But as far as bio, let's see something fun. I live in Florida, which is the greatest place ever because it's always super, super warm. I have an amazing golden retriever that I'm sure if you have seen any podcast or seen me out, he's always there. And I like to just hang out outside. I don't know if I have anything cool.
Cool thing is doing this, but everybody else does this, so.
Right, I don't think I have a cool, fun thing. I need to find one. Okay, next time I will have a cool, fun thing. I will have invented something or done something cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you've already invented something.
I was going to say, I guess my cool hobby is I run.
So we're here at the Pop-Up BookShoppe in Richmond. It's my first time, and the first day felt like first day at camp, kind of intimidating. A lot of people already knew each other and had these deep bonds, and you're just kind of you know what I mean?
Yes.
But very quickly, by the end of the first day, I felt really comfortable with all the people here.
Awesome.
By the end of the second day, I think I felt a little bit more comfortable trying to tell people about, because when you're pitching someone's book and they're standing right next to you, you
get intimidated.
Going why don't you just do it? And then I was like, I got it. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. We definitely do. I think the first day, that happens all the time because we don't realize new authors don't get our jokes. So a lot of times we do the inside jokes that I'm sure you got, and we do our funny little quirky things. So we're definitely trying to get better at incorporating the new authors right away.
Don't ignore me.
But
I am upset with
but we're trying to do as much as we can to bring in new authors and things like that. So I'm glad you had fun and you feel more incorporated. And It is intimidating with the new books. Even as somebody who, I work to advertise for you guys and get everything together and I read your books, I completely freak out half the time too. So that's why I try to make it as easy as possible with the cheat sheets and everything like that. But
you
hopefully,
don't hang everybody out there to dry, be just
no.
memorize stupid,
Yes.
You gave us all the email, which helped, and I read that, but still, when you're looking at the books, you're which one is this? Okay, yeah, that's,
Yes, absolutely.
Getting it on the fly takes a little bit of refining, but it comes quick.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that, after doing this is our 3rd year. It's actually our 3rd year anniversary at Richmond. So, it's super excited.
Happy anniversary to Pop-Up BookShoppe.
Yay! But going through and doing all these different events is how I started creating those 2-liner elevator pitches. And when I create them, I time them to see if they go over 10 seconds because the average person will pay attention for 10 seconds. So I try not to bridge that at all so that you capture them immediately. And then when you shift, it's kind of, because we're in very much of a, like, what do they call it now? Doom scrolling? Is that what it is? So everybody's doing that. So by the time I'm done with one, like, we're already on to another. So I feel like it gives that vibe a little bit, and I think it helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that's impressed me the most is, everybody seems to know who you guys are, and they're all like, hey, you guys are awesome. Do you need anything? Do you want some better seats than the ones they gave you? Like, so the relationships you guys have made here seem really cool. But the actual setup itself, you guys bring a lot of stuff just on your own outside of the books that the authors bring. How much stuff do you guys actually have to pack up when we leave the house to come to one of these?
Oh, so when we come to one, most of the stuff we bring is for the boutique, which is what we sell to help fund the bookshop, to keep the bookshop alive and going.
You guys have got those like big covered plastic bins that people see at Target or wherever.
So what I do is I made it so I only bring 2 of those, because if I go and I bring more than that, I found that I end up having to go home with so much stuff. So on average, I take, they're pretty big, they're like
science,
50.
Trying to go as light as you can, but making sure it's not too little.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So this time I actually kind of cheated myself. I went and I did the 1 bin for the boutique side, and it has all of the flowers and the mystery books. This time we added some reader starter kits, which seems to really get people excited about the books, which I think is really great. And we also added in author starter kits, where we created like notebooks, writing prompts to kind of inspire people.
Yeah, the pen that it comes with is really cute too.
Yeah, like you get a pen, you get some prompts, you get our business cards, so that like when you do finish it, you can come and follow us. Yeah. You get some sticky notes and things like that to kind of do some quick writing things. But I put all of that into 1 bin, and then our mystery books, or our blind date with a book that we end up doing, I put in its own little box this time, because I went a little crazy on the crown side of things, because we had so many really new and interesting designs. So I kind of went overboard on that. But otherwise, when we load out of here, we've been lucky enough that I put 1 bin inside the other one, because I don't have to bring anybody's book back. Like, as you see, what we have for people here today is what's on the table. We've done amazing this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a really good weekend.
Yes.
And I think Ben must have set a record for like most sales.
Oh my God, it was insane. I think I stopped counting after 50, because I was like, at this point, nobody's gonna catch up. It's just rude. Like, when you're watching like a football game or something and they're just getting stomped into the ground, it's like, just end the game. So I stopped counting, but you never know what's going to happen today. Somebody could, sneak in. Rich has already sold one. We weren't even open. Rich is sneaking in with early sales.
I might just ask him if it's okay if I word for word steal his entire pitch.
Right? That's what I was thinking too. I told.
It seems like he's got it down.
Exactly. I told Leslie to sneak up behind him and just record it so that we can script it out and give it to everybody.
All right, everybody, memorize this script before you show up on day 1.
Exactly. Yes, 100%.
This is the key.
Yes.
Give me the full. This is what all my books are about.
Okay. So my books that are released right now is called the Heart Realm in the Realm series. It is a dark metaphysical series about a girl who has been haunted by somebody she can see but not hear for the first 18 years of her life. And then on the night of her 18th birthday, he comes and tells her that she is the lost heir to a realm that is falling apart. And if she doesn't come back, it's crumbling and it will just cease to exist. So he convinces her to come back after
and this
some.
Hinges on her being there.
She has to be there. Yeah. So a little spoiler is she actually has the heart of the realms inside her. So because she's been gone, it's kind of falling apart. You find out about it really quick, so it's not too big of a spoiler. Yeah. So she has to go, and she's fighting against something called the Shadowed, which is the darkness that exists everywhere. And so when the Shadowed finds out she's coming back, it gets a little dicey. It's very action-packed if you're into that kind of thing. It's an adrenaline rush, and that ended last year. There's 5 novels, 5 novellas. You don't have to read the novels to read the novellas. So you get the backstories of all of the main characters. Yeah.
That's awesome. What advice do you have, being that you've been here for pretty much every event that you guys have done, right?
Yeah, everyone.
What's your advice to somebody selling books, whether it's here or whether they're at their local county pop-up market or whatever?
I would say don't go alone. A lot of authors think that you need to go by yourself. Bring a friend. It's very intimidating if you've never done it before. Even if you have done it before, I mean, I still get nervous before all of these things. So having somebody there with you and to just remind you that you've already done the hard part. You've written the book.
Yeah.
So it's as long as you have that person there to help you, because it is very draining. Don't ever feel like you have to go into everything alone. So if you are going to do an event, I highly recommend you bring a friend, a spouse, anybody like that. Partner up with another author,
Even
and
if
that
they
helps
write
too.
Extremely different stuff, because I sell a lot when I'm locally selling 15
Right.
20-minute drive type places with a writer named Lisa Mason.
Okay.
And she writes spicy 5 people at once, just like really
The crazy intense.
really
yes.
spicy. This stuff just got banned from Amazon because it's too spicy type spice. Couldn't be farther away from what I write, but the two of us like refer people who stop and look because they see a cover that they look, oh, that's not really my thing. Oh, well, is this your thing? Oh yeah, okay, and then just shift over one table the other way.
Absolutely. It's about creating that community, because that's what you need as an author. Even if you think you don't, you really do. And I think going with another author, it takes the pressure off for selling your book. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I think helps the authors at the Pop-Up Bookshop is you don't have that pressure of I need to sell my book. You can go and sell somebody else's and know that they can help you too. So that's why I always tell everybody that you're doing an event, bring a friend.
Yeah.
Even if you just need that little person to be like your ego boost, then that's what you use them for.
Friendship is magic.
Yes. As we learned last night, yes.
All right. Anything else that you want someone to know about the Pop-Up Bookshop? How it works, how to get into it, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're an author and you're published, please reach out to us if you want. You don't have to come in person. I think that's blown a lot of people's minds, even though we've been doing this for a couple years. Yeah. You can send your books in to us. If you go over to the Pop-Up Bookshop, you can see every event that we're doing. Our applications are right there, super easy. And if you have any questions, you can contact us. It's very... I mean, as you've heard from, hopefully the authors have been very nice to me this weekend on these things. It's a fun community to be a part of, whether you come in person or whether you're sending books only. We support everybody. So, and if you need any help with editing or finding reliable people, we have resources for covers and everything. We're a one-stop shop. So if you have questions, reach out, join us. We're always looking for new authors.
If nothing else, you can steer somebody away from the... people that are out there just to take advantage of people with the dream of being published.
Exactly.
That's a big market.
It is, yes. The scammers are huge. All of our entire database is tried and true. Like, we've tested everybody. I give out, my own stuff as a sample to show you what they've edited, what they've made, maps, typeset, covers, helping with blurb, anything like that. We have everybody on our list has been tested, and we have their prices, their contact information. We know they won't scam you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's us.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you in person.
Yes.
Well, no, we met in person
We did.
the first time, but that was a pretty brief interaction.
It was.
Kind of like, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's been great to hang out all weekend.
Yeah.
Even if
likewise.
it's been insane.
You and your husband both. He does a mean panel hosting job.
Oh, he's an adventure.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, he is.
All right. Well, it's been nice getting to know you, and
you as well. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Thanks.
I'm Scott A. Clark. I started writing probably about 10 years ago. Was not something I ever aspired to. I just kind of fell into it and realized how much I loved doing it. Yeah. So I just kept kind of running with it. I have 2 books out right now in the Her Violet Empire series. So there's The Duchess and the Accidental Thief and The Duchess and the Indigo Child. It's a techno thriller. It's got some paranormal elements, some psychic connections and things of that nature. The first book is about your average IT worker, shows up for his first job interview in weeks, is super excited, but there's no office, no people, bare concrete floors, there's just nothing. Yeah. So someone's played a joke on me, clearly, and through his own incompetence, he gets locked out of the office on the outside on a terrace, has to scale the side of the building into the office next door to escape, and walks right into a broad daylight robbery. It's definitely got some Douglas Adams type humor. It is set in London. I used to pitch it as, oh, it's if The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo had been written by Douglas Adams, and then I thought, well, there's already a book like that. It's called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Yeah.
And then the second book kind of continues with the same characters, but there's the introduction of a 15-year-old kind of prodigy who has had these vivid dreams and published an excerpt, and it turns out that it's very much the events of the first book. And they're like, how could she possibly know any of this?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it turns out for the second book.
How did you get tangled up with the Pop-Up Bookshop in the first place? And then how has the experience been for you with this being your sixth convention
with the bookshop? So not long after I published my first book the first time, because I did republish it, I submitted it to a contest to a small press or an author services company, and I was very fortunate. I won the grand prize, and the gentleman who ran the press was connected to the bookshop, and he said, you really should come and do this. And so I came to, my first one was in GalaxyCon Columbus in 2023, and I just clicked with these people, and it's been such a fantastic experience. It's more than just a booth where you sell your books. It really is an author community. So I had Chelsea did my beta read for my second book. I've had a number of the authors have read my book and given me feedback. And like day to day at the conventions is meeting people. It recharges my batteries. It's so much fun, and the vibes are so positive that it sustains me. I can't imagine not doing this.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for kind of mentoring me out here as well, because I've been standing next to you just trying to kind of absorb your pitch and how you get through each book so smoothly without, verbal stuttering like I get
It takes a little while, but you start to remember these things. You hear what other people say, and it starts to come more naturally. And I've seen you've like grown every day. You've gotten better at it. So
that's good. I'm glad to hear there's been improvement. I told them, I was like, I don't really care if I come in last place in sales. I just don't want to be far behind everybody else. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like that mule at the back of the pack that everybody's just dragging along.
I think you're doing great, man, and it's been a pleasure having you here.
Yeah. Hey, great to meet you. I look forward to listening to the rest of your book on the ride home.
All right, fantastic.
I am Heidi Nickerson. I wrote The Salamander Stone. It's the first book in what I'm planning to be a 3-part series, young adult fantasy. So if you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Teen Wolf, it has a world that might look familiar to what we have. And so in a world full of monsters, the main character starts to turn into one. She's not sure why. So the first book kind of follows that story of figuring out. And I would say if you're familiar with the Hulk at all, that kind of like superhero story, it's that similar duality of like man versus himself. In my story, it's very much like a lot of that teen angst kind of goes into that because it's a much more like high season of change, that coming of age. That's why I picked it for young adult. And if you're familiar with in Beowulf, the character, the creature Grendel, is a big inspiration for that character design a lot. So she's, not meant to necessarily be this overpowered protagonist. It's kind of more so like we don't want to be turning into this thing that we're turning into, and that kind of like tricky thing of we don't know exactly how to solve it. There's other things in there too about mental health and generational trauma. There's some depictions of mental illness that definitely carry into what I'm planning for book 2. A lot about her mother and stories where you can't necessarily like shed where you come from, and that does shape a lot of who we become. So I would say for that, the series, there's like a lot of other stuff that isn't as heavy. There's, shape-shifting foxes and like in a world where vampires are walking around, we have like sorbet that has like blood in it so that they can like go get ice cream with everybody else, sort of thing. Like I do some tongue-in-cheek stuff to kind of break it up because I really like the dark humor of old 80s movies and stuff like that. So that series I'm really excited about. The second one, I'll give a little teaser where like that first prologue has a troll bridge. Like you have to stop at the troll and pay the troll instead of a toll, and that's like a new thing that I haven't had in the first book, so I'm excited about that. I'm local to Richmond, and I have wrote this book during COVID. So when the world was kind of scary outside, I wanted to write a scary story where I was to kind of work through a lot of those feelings of like you're kind of trapped, you're not really sure like what to do in this like new scary experience you're going through. And yeah, I would say
modern day Mary Shelley.
Yes, it was as much as I could, for sure. Well, and that is a tricky thing because I had my first, I have 2 children, and my first was 9 months old or 6 months old or so when we first went into lockdown. And so it was like a very isolating time when you have a very young child and your support system is just completely gone. So for me, it was a very like growing and challenging time, and you have to deal with a lot of that like postpartum. They talk about postpartum depression or like just in general like mania as well. If you're not getting enough sleep, shadows in the corner start to like look like they're talking to you. You know, we came out on the other side. I'm sure everybody's had like their own kind of weird spooky stories from when they're like, I've been in the house for too many days during COVID. But yeah, I would say it gave a lot of. As I was coming out of that, a lot of that went into the book as a thing of, I know that I'm not the first person to feel this way, and I wanted to write a story to kind of like work through a lot of that, and also to not necessarily to like villainize when we feel like we're out of control, or even things like anger, which I think for women it's something like it's definitely seen as like an angry woman is a very bad thing, when anger is sometimes a productive emotion that kind of can be a signal to us that something is wrong. So I would say that was something that I definitely used as like kind of fodder for the series. But yeah, I'm really excited about that second book, and it's definitely gone in. I just finished drafting the second one, so I think it's gone in a very weird and fun direction, and I think the third one will be a really good time as well. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, how many times have you sold here? Because you're familiar with these guys by now.
Yeah, the Pop-Up BookShoppe. Actually, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. I met them at Richmond GalaxyCon last year. I had my own table. I was selling. It was 2 years ago is when I released the first book, and so I had my own table here, and I was selling, them. I was selling them by myself with like family and friends because I live in this area. And then while I was here, one of the other authors at a table near me mentioned that the Pop-Up BookShoppe was here, and you should check them out if you're not able to go to some of the other cities that GalaxyCon is going to be in, because the bookshop's design is you can go and travel with them, or you can send copies of your books, and they'll do their best to sell your book whether you're there or not, because the whole point is that we're selling everybody's books at the table, not just our own. So whether you're in person or not, usually if you're not there in person to give that signature, you don't necessarily make as many sales as you would if you're there in person. But I've been with them for nearly 2 years now, and I've been able to ship my books to Austin, Texas. I want to say I did Oklahoma City, I think. No, I didn't send it for that one, but people thought that I was going to. It was like a last-minute change. And yeah, it's one of those things where I have been able to sell copies in Austin, and there are other cities that they do, like San Jose and Oklahoma City, St. Louis, where I might not be able to go in person, but if I can send my book, and people that I've met through here, do their best to sell it, just like with anybody else. So, so it's been a really great time, and every time I am able to be in person, it's always fun to do the silly panels, like, who wins, Batman or Superman, or just being at the table and meeting readers and writers has been like, I wish I could do this all the time because it's one of my favorite things that I get to do.
What are your links and social media handles?
Yeah, I would say on Instagram, HA Nickerson _author. I have an old personal account on Instagram, so if you look at HA Nickerson, you'll find two. But the author page, the HA Nickerson author, is where you'll find all of my author updates. And then on TikTok, if you look for Heidi Nickerson, you'll find me. Those are the two that I post to most regularly. I am going to probably be somewhere else, but my goal is to start, cross-posting on YouTube as well. But I have to have big things to announce and talk about on there. And as we're in the process of production for the second book, once I have information to share, that's when we'll probably start posting a lot again. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. And it was nice meeting you and selling books with you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
My name is Kristen. I go by KN because if I put my whole name on the book, it's too long. Kristen Timothy is way too long to put on anything.
Too much.
So I just went for KN. I am primarily a new adult fantasy author, so those age groups of like 19 to 26 where you kind of know who you are, but you don't have your stuff all together yet. Yeah. My book that I have it on the table this time around is called The Serpent's Coils. It's the first book of a 5-book series that I have called A Tale of Light and Darkness, and it is a sweeping tale about found family, realizing who you are, reorganizing your priorities, and making the connections of family and friends while trying to stop interdimensional body-hopping monsters.
I love the interdimensional body-hopping monsters part.
Yes, one of my favorite scenes that I wrote was in a battle in the second book where they're trying to defend a temple area where they have all the information they're looking for, and it's like a little bit of a horror element because you're fighting people that you know, and then once that body dies, they jump into the next one. So the person that you're fighting next to all of a sudden turns around and starts attacking you again, and you kind of don't know who's on your side, and it's just mass chaos.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of like a scary fun house where things just like pop up and you have to keep just like whacking them down like as they pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times have you sold with Pop-Up BookShoppe?
This will be my third time with them.
Third time.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you first get in touch with these guys, and then what is the whole experience of your entirety of working with these guys been like?
So I have been writing for several years. My first book came out, if I'm remembering correctly, like in 2018.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of indie stuff on my own, but I wasn't gaining a lot of traction. And I just never thought to do a con before. And so last year at Raleigh, which is where I'm from, actually my sister-in-law kind of pimped me out to them because she was going around, being like, hey, my sister-in-law has a book. My sister-in-law has a book. So she got me their card. And then I reached out to Chelsea about it, and then bada bing, bada boom, here I am. And I could not have been more grateful for it. Yeah. I have seen an increase of sales. I get to actually connect to people, and these cons are expensive. Like just a table alone can run you $400. And so, as an indie, I don't have a lot backing me up, and so everything comes out of pocket. Yeah. And this helps to really like alleviate some of that stress. Yeah. And it's
other
very
people
awkward.
Helping you sell your book, like you just feel kind of like, oh man, people have got me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's helped me to really find my stride in selling face to face, because it's always awkward to talk about your own book because you like have brain rot when someone asks and you're like, I don't know. But like I've gotten to where I can talk about my book like it's not my book, and it releases a lot of my anxiety because I don't want to make people feel awkward or obligated to purchase it, but I still want them to be interested. And that's like a weird fine line you kind of got to balance through, and Pop-Up has helped me do that phenomenally. Yeah. So the best place to find everything that I'm at is at my website, timofeebooks.com. Cool. So TIMOFEEV books.com. Yeah. It has the links to all my socials, all of the books I've written. I've written 6. I have 6 out so far. I have the first chapters available for all 6 books, so you can read each chapter to see if it's a book that you want to do, and you can also order directly through my website, or if you need something along the lines of like a map for your book or for your art for your RPGD table. I do those as well on the side as a fun commission.
That's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, hey, it's been great meeting you, and thanks for doing the podcast.
Yes, awesome. And it's really fun working with you.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Benjamin Campice. I'm a young adult fantasy author. I live in West Michigan, born and raised my entire life. I'm very involved in like the community. I'm a big mental health advocate. I'm involved in Momentum Center. I'm on the board for them. It's community. They provide community space for people with mental health issues because that just is a super important thing to me. I've also been a volunteer youth leader for 15 years for high school age kids. That's just has been super important to me. It's very LGBTQ plus friendly as well. I'm a big supporter and advocate for that as well. I have 2 kids. I have 2 dogs. I have a cat. I have a fish tank. I got a little bit of everything. I also have a degree in marine biology and a master's in zoo and aquarium management. However, I sell insurance with my family because you got to support the author dream. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Dude, marine biology, that's awesome. I wish I had known that. I would have. That's the one thing. I was an English major, and that's
Okay.
the one degree. Like, if I could do anything in science, that's the one thing I would have wanted to do.
Right, yeah. And I got published in a paper studying the Gulf of Mexico oil spill in 2010. We were studying like oxygen levels and the different like levels of the water. And I was out on the ocean for a week collecting water samples, and we like ran data on the oxygen levels and published a paper. So I'm published in a scientific journal too. Yeah.
All over the place.
I'm weird.
The book that you've been selling here,
Yeah.
or the book series that you've been selling here, give us the full pitch on that.
Yeah, for sure. The Shades of Aura series is about people who can manipulate the aura of other people in a world with mystical partner beasts. It has a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Pokemon, Golden Compass vibes. It has a pretty unique magic system like Brandon Sanderson kind of created. And it also has a lot of the adventure aspects of like the Aragon Christopher Paolini series. So it's got 5 auras. The main character's trying to figure out what aura you can manipulate. The 5 auras are vigor, perception, mentality, luck, and empathy. And each one has unique attributes.
It's very cool, man. It's been fun pitching that book too, because when you see the people that like it's definitely for, they're so excited when
It's super fun seeing people's people's faces light up when you describe it, and it's like, oh, I created this, and they're like, oh, this sounds so cool. So yeah.
And this is a great environment for that crowd too.
Right. Yeah. And you always get those random older generation people. They're like, oh, I got into aura when I was younger. It was weird. I was like, oh, I don't think this is the same thing. But
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And then, despite what people may think, we're both from West Michigan, not
Yep.
that far apart from each other. We first met here.
Yep.
How did you find out about the Pop-Up Bookshop?
I did the Louisville Book Festival in October of 2024, and I met a few authors there. One of them is actually at the event with us right now. They kind of talked a little bit about the shop, and I like the concept of it. I personally, like by myself, go to a lot of Comic-Con events and sell my book by myself, and I'm like, I'm going to try something different.
Yeah.
And I really like the setup. It's really fun to sell other people's books.
Yeah.
I also think like people like to buy a collection of books that are different, so this is kind of a cool thing because you have it all in one spot. But yeah.
Yeah, and you've been slaying it. This is your first event, right?
It is my first with this group, yeah.
Yeah. Not your first event ever, but
No,
first
no.
Pop-Up Bookshop.
Yeah.
And you've been killing it sales-wise, man.
Yeah.
Do you have advice for anybody, both here or anyone thinking about selling books, just in general?
Right. Yeah, it is a tough thing to do. I know a lot of authors that have written fantastic books but have trouble like selling it in person because it is a completely different thing doing that. I do come from like I sell insurance. I sell health insurance, Medicare, so I have a background in sales. I also in high school sold dog food, and I was like #1 at selling dog food too. So it just is an innate thing in a way. But the big thing is you need a quick, engaging pitch, and you need good comps is like the main thing. Also, Michigan Nice is is like a thing. I know Midwest nice, but Michigan nice is a totally different breed. But that eye contact, just talking to people, complimenting them, and just like getting and engaging in a conversation really just opens the door. You learn things about the person buying, but you also learn like what would work for them. So yeah, that's the big thing. A lot of kindness.
Yeah. Yeah. If you do it right, because people are, just generally speaking, solicited all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Mail, on the phone, email, in person.
Yep.
But if you can do it in a non-abrasive way.
Yes.
You can see some people just kind of like drop their shoulders like, oh, this guy's not going to hurt
Oh, yeah. And I've had a lot of people like, wow, you know a lot, but also like you're engaging and you're like keeping eye contact and like it's easy talking to you. I'm like, yeah, that's just because I'm trying to be a human.
I'm from Michigan.
Right. I mean, literally, we have a hand as the state, so we're a human, right? In a way, whatever.
In Michigan, every dad's always getting to something like, look him in the eye, shake his hand.
Right, yeah. Which, that's a little cringy to me. I try not to be that type of way. Because that's like, I think, an older generation thing for sure. But like, just talking to people and hearing about them, that's what people want. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, man, it's been great meeting you here. Thanks for talking, and I'll make sure that all your stuff's linked up.
Sweet.
Let me know the links and the social media handles.
Yeah, like Sam right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on Instagram as at Bengar_campice. I assume you don't want me to spell it, or you do?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, you'll have it on the link. Yeah. And just a little joke, the Bengar thing, I'm a huge Pokemon nerd. So Gengar is my favorite Pokemon. My name is Ben, so I did Bengar. It's a little cheesy thing. Yeah. And then I'm on TikTok at Bengar27. Those are kind of my two social media areas. And then I have like a newsletter I try to kind of keep up with. But yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, it's been great meeting you. Thank you for talking on.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, my name's Rich Hosek. I used to be a television writer, currently a podcaster and novelist. And today I'm at the Pop-Up BookShoppe at the GalaxyCon in Richmond selling my novel, The Dead Kids Club, which is a real page-turning, heart-wrenching, thought-provoking, action-packed, your next favorite book kind of a thriller. I also have a series of paranormal mysteries I wrote with my friends Arnold Rudnick and Lloyd Auerbach. That's more like I described as Scooby-Doo meets the X-Files. So it's a paranormal version of that, of Mulder and Scully. And that one's a little bit more lighthearted, a lot of fun. We tackle different topics in each volume. So if you're into the paranormal, if you're just like a good mystery, it's a great choice as well. And on the podcast, I do fiction short stories. So it's kind of like an audio book, but just for short stories. And sound effects and music. A lot of fun. I try to put those out a few times a month, and so if you like audiobooks, you'll love listening to that.
How did you get caught up with Pop-Up?
Well, I actually got recommended here through our mutual friend Jody Sperling. Mm-hmm. He had interviewed Chelsea, and he said you should give her an email, see if she might be interested in selling your book. Mm-hmm. So I reached out to her. She indeed liked the book idea, so I arranged to have my books sent out to San Jose for the GalaxyCon there, and they never arrived.
Yeah.
So instead, after a few sort of false steps there, finally made arrangements to come here to get the full experience.
Yeah.
And it's been a blast.
Yeah.
We've been standing here, selling books, meeting people, getting to know the other writers.
Yeah.
I think this is a really great experience. If you're a writer, to have a community like this, because most of the time when you're writing, you're alone.
Yeah.
And when you're selling, sometimes you're alone.
Yeah.
And here you get to be with a bunch of like-minded people for the whole weekend, and it's just a blast. It's very rewarding, and a lot of really great books here. You can find everything over at richhosek.com. That's RICHHOSEK. But I'm also on Twitter at Rich Hosek, or X. I'm on Facebook at Written by Rich Hosek, Instagram Rich Hosek, and the podcast is at bedtimestories.studio. It's bedtime stories for insomniacs.